Hi team, Aces Up here for Pokernerve. Welcome back again. We're going to go through some examples here in HRC to demonstrate how our bubble strategy should differ in a PKO tournament compared to a regular tournament. So we're going to look at two PokerStars tournaments, the Big 109 and the $109 Bounty Builder, to hopefully see some really clear patterns of how we should operate our stack in the bubble differently. So hopefully there's no surprises here when we take a look at how a MP3 player would play with M20 when they have 4 M5 stacks behind in the immediate bubble, the direct bubble, so the next player to bust misses out on getting some of the regular prize pool in this Big 109 tournament. And I've set the fields up in these examples just to reflect what I saw in the lobbies the other day, to keep it as realistic as possible. The $109 Bounty Builder did have a larger field size, so I have put that in. But yeah, just sort of pretty standard stuff of how you'd expect these tournaments to be running online. And so yeah, the next player to bust won't get paid. They are all about trying to survive. And that means that as a big bully stack, not too surprisingly here, pretty standard stuff, you can jam any two. Because the M5 stacks that are behind you in the cutoff button, small blind and big blind, when you jam in from MP with M20, the M5 stacks have to, well, are supposed to, of course, continue, really tightly. And you can see here that, it's 8s plus basically. So yeah, really tight ranges. And that means that the MP3 player has a profitable jam with any two in this situation. So how do you expect this would change if we have a look at when MP3, the actions on MP3, and they've got the M5s behind again with 2 start bounties. It's a pretty realistic situation. Folds to you, you're in middle position. You've got M20 and you've got some short stacks behind you can put pressure on in a PKO tournament. Each of them has a couple of start bounties. As you'd expect, they have busted some players. It's obviously late, getting later in the tournament. Now we're talking about getting into the money. Remember, it is the direct bubble here. So the next player to bust won't receive any of the regular prize pool. So one off the money. And you can see here that unlike before in a regular freeze-out tournament where it was any two, it's actually now just under 70% of hands that we could jam in this situation. And if you take a look at the calling ranges of the players behind, they are vastly different, aren't they? Especially in the case of the big blind now. Before they were only calling with, let's just pop back for a moment here and have a look. Hand 2 it was. You can see that the big blind was calling with 3% of hands, and now they're calling with 20. So that really highlights the importance of, the strategy adjustment in a PKO tournament. And if you suspect that your opponent is jamming really wide, crazy wide, they're a crazy Russian and they just want to put pressure on in the bubble, and they're not adjusting to the fact that it's a PKO tournament and jamming perhaps any two, well, you could call even wider, couldn't we? Despite it being the bubble, of course, that's all about the fact that we've got that second prize pool that we want to be able to compete for. And that's really lessening the bubble effect. Since there's just not that single prize pool where it's all or nothing. True, if we do bust next and we call and maybe we had the best hand but we lose or whatever happens, if we do click call and lose, yeah, okay, we miss out on some of that regular prize pool. But the benefit of getting that double up and taking advantage of an opponent jamming a pretty wide range and getting it in good and getting that double up and getting ourselves back in contention, we really want to be going for that bounty prize pool as well. So hopefully that's pretty clear. And it's I think it's a pretty obvious pattern once you see it. But certainly at first, some of the students that I've spoken to about this, it has been a little bit counterintuitive in terms of them expecting to be able to jam wider in a PKO bubble because they think, well, I can put pressure on and win knockouts. It's a win-win. But at the end of the day, remember that jamming a wide range is all about your opponent folding a lot of hands. That's what it's all about. And when they're not folding a lot of hands and they start taking a stand in a PKO tournament like this with the big blind here calling with 20%, then of course we have to adjust. We can't jam so wide anymore. Yeah, it's nice. We can win knockouts if we bust them. Yeah, we can put some pressure on, But we have to be aware that the main reason why we can jam wide in a bubble normally is because we're getting so many folds, but here we're not. So we have to tighten up a little bit, but we're still playing loosely and aggressively, but we have to be more concerned that our opponent's going to call wider. If they're playing the correct strategy of the course, we want to get away with as much as we can, but if they are playing correct strategy, then we have to be a little bit more careful. So keep that in mind, and we're going to continue on now and look at various situations and really try and fine tune our bubble play. This was Aces Up for Pokernerve. Thanks for watching. Want to take your game to the next level? Make sure you check out our MTT poker course. And please like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching.